Hey guys, welcome to Game Bad today, bringing out a video for Insurgency Sandstorm here on console. This is going to be the tips and tricks video. So we're going to go through tips and tricks, how to have high kill games, and just play better overall. So I'm going to jump in, we're going to show how to build a class here, just to help you guys out. And then we'll jump into some PvE gameplay where you can see I'll have a really good gameplay where I go 30-0 with the Scar. And just look at some tactics. I'll let you guys watch that raw gameplay after I'm done talking, so you can watch just my tactics that I use to have good gameplay. And I've had a lot of really high kill games. So I went 69 and 1 today with the M110 and a pistol. So just some things to help you guys out on console if you're struggling. I run into a lot of guys with no attachments on weapons and things like that in the PvE gameplay when I'm playing. So just some things to help you guys out. We did a beginner's guide the other day. I'll link that down below. But first off, building our class from scratch. So what we want to do first off for the weapon here. Now you have a certain amount of points down in the bottom right hand corner. You see I have 21, so we went over this a little bit in the beginner's video, but basically what you want to do now in a game, you're not going to have this many points. It's just because I'm in the range, but I'm going to show you the basics how to build a kit. So obviously you want an optic. Your 1x optics are 1 point, your dual optics are going to be 2, and based on the magnification here, you have a 4x is going to be 3, and then you have the 4x with the top mounted deltas or top mounted iron sights that are going to be 4 points. So that's going to eat up into your points, so pay attention to which optic you're using in order to save the best amount of points. Grips here, you can see obviously same amount of points. Quick draw grip is good for the amount of times to draw a weapon and put it back when you're switching weapons. Loading grip increases or reduces the time it takes to reload your weapon. Aiming is your ADS, and then recoil, obviously recoil. So based on the caliber, you can get away with not having recoil grips. You can have different things like loading or even aiming grips on them. Here, with the Alpha AK, we're firing 7.62 by 39 with the Alpha AK or the AK-104. So we're going to want that recoil grip just to control that recoil. Now, here I'm opting to leave the barrel blank, or base, I guess. You have the flash hider, you have the compensator, and the suppressor. These are all going to cost you more points, so if you don't need it for a weapon, don't worry about it. So we'll skip it for this. However, you obviously can use this how you want based on the weapon, your recoil control. Magazine option, again, this is going to be more points. Typically, if you're single firing, it's not going to be an issue. You can get away with your base magazine. Laser light, definitely helpful for hip firing, just so you can see where your bullets are going to be going. And then you obviously have tracer rounds, which don't cost you anything. So that's really how you build your weapon. You can see our Alpha AK looking pretty good here. We'll leave that. Now, backing out, your pistol. Obviously, your pistol, there's different pistols that cost different points. So here, because we're in the gun range, I went kind of crazy with my pistol. Typically, I'm going to run a Makarov in PvE or PvP just because it's going to cost me no points and I'll have a sidearm just in case. Very rarely do I use my sidearm unless I'm using some different sort of primary like a sniper rifle. Next up, for your equipment, or your explosive, excuse me, your frag grenades, these are all going to cost more points, so just pay attention. Typically, I think frag grenades are probably the way to go in PvE. You also have things like AT4s or C4s, IEDs, and Panzerfaust, things like that. Again, going to cost more points. Typically, I'm just going to run a frag grenade or maybe even a flash for 1 point based on how I'm going to be playing that game. Typically, I might even not run any explosive just because you can get in there without an explosive. You don't really need to worry about it too much in PvE especially. But PvE or PvP, you probably do want some sort of explosive. But again, the M67 frag, pretty good for just throwing something in the objective as well. Now, look at our carriers. So heavy carriers, this is something lately it's been actually very helpful. So typically you'll have something like heavy carrier or light carrier options. So this is just going to allow you to have either one grenade, one pistol mag, and 2 additional AR mags or primary mags. And the heavy carrier, again, you're just going to carry more ammo. So I've lately been opting for the heavy carrier. However, again, based on points, the light carrier is perfectly fine. Just make sure you hit those ammo stashes. And then next up, armor. So armor, here I'm running a heavy armor. However, light armor is definitely, you're going to increase your mobility a lot. I noticed I was very, very slow running heavy armor the other day. So definitely I think light armor is always my go-to. You'll move quicker. And again, you can definitely, as long as you play slowly and tactically, you can easily get away with the light armor versus the heavy armor, in my opinion. And then gas mask, again, this is a must. If you gas mask just for smoke, as well as you're playing night vision maps, this is where you want the accessory. You'll pick from different night vision optics. You'll have things like different color schemas, which we'll go over in a separate video, but you'll have either green, morning type with the yellow or reddish hue to it, as well as more of a gray night vision object. So you have a whole bunch of choices there, but your accessory is where you're going to find that. And again, to equip that, it's going to be left on your D-pad. And then combat knife, this is 0 points, so you might as well just go ahead and equip that. So we'll go ahead now and we will deploy with our Alpha AK. Now, just some things I wanted to go over here. We covered a lot of this in the beginner's video. However, let's go ahead, just quick refresher. Laser is going to be right on our D-pad. Again, this allows me to see where I'm shooting for hip fire. So if I'm pushing in an objective, I can just tap fire like that to single fire. Again, gas mask or your accessory is going to be right or left on the D-pad, excuse me. Left on the D-pad for your accessory, right on the D-pad for your laser. ADSing, if you have a dual zoomed optic, you would ADS and push left on the D-pad to swap that, which we went over in the beginner's guide, so go ahead and check that out. Now, some tactics here that are definitely helpful. Obviously, you can vault different objects. If you haven't figured this out by now, just going to come up to it. You'll get a little icon, and you hit X. You'll vault over it. Some other PvE or PvP tactics is ADSing in pine corners or leaning corners. So when you're moving and leaning at the same time, when you stop, you'll get an additional lean. So just keep that in mind. If I'm trying to go around, let's say, this wall here, and I want to shoot a guy at the edge of this truck right there, okay? So what I'll do is I will lean, and I'll creep over, and right there, you see, when I stop moving, I'll get a little bit of an extra distance because I'm not moving. So I'll lean a little more, and there we go. Now I can pie that and get shots over there. Now, pine corners is a big thing here. So let's go ahead and find a corner. Let's say there's going to be a guy on the other side. Let's find a good wall here. On the other side of this, okay? Let's say there's a guy over here. So pie in a corner, if I'm moving into objective or something like that, what we want to do here is pie in a corner means this is my fixed point right there. So I'm going to go around like I'm basically the crust on a pie, and this is the tip of the pie slice. So I'm pie in that corner, coming around, and I'm keeping my optic right there where I know this guy's eventually going to be, just looking for him. So that's how you pie corners. Again, you can lean and do this. You can get ready to point fire. Okay, but that's how you want to pie a corner or go into a building like that, is just lean. You know this guy's on the wall. You're going to keep your red dot where he's going to be, and then when you do see him, you go ahead and light him up. That's how you pie corners. Now, when you come into buildings, obviously, you can kick down doors. Let's see, there's no doors, I don't think, here. There is. Okay, so you can either open it like that, or you can, if I close this, you can breach with R3 or whatever it is on your Xbox. So if I'm getting ready to breach a building, let's say I can go like this, come on in, and breach it like that just by kicking a door in. Or you can peek the door and you could throw a grenade in there as well, which would definitely be a good option. But if I'm coming into a room here, typically I want to check my corners, right? Come in, I'll pie this corner, come out, that side's clear, this side's clear, and that's how you move in. Again, I'm going to pie this corner here, probably a guy on the other side here, and that's how you get the advantage on your opponent. Coming into buildings can be very tricky, especially with the fast ETK here, so I'm going to come around the corner. And you just want to move like that. Always check your corners and move slowly and tactically. You can also, obviously, when you're sprinting, hold circle to slide, gets you behind cover faster. It's really what that's for. There's no slide cancel or anything like there is in Call of Duty. So if I'm getting shot and I need to get behind this corner, I can slide there quick. And you can see there, just get behind cover. If I'm going across the street, get behind cover like that. And that's just some tips and tricks. So let's go ahead now and we'll just jump into the SCAR gameplay here. We're playing PvE. I believe this is on Embassy. This is a really good map. And the SCAR setup, again, pretty simple SCAR setup. I'll let you guys see what I'm selecting here. This is really what we went over here as far as how to use points. So how to use points, you'll see what I'm running here. Just we're running a dual optic. I believe it's a 4x optic with a top-mounted ring sight for the iron sights. Running the bipod grip. I believe I have extended mags there, and the laser sight and the bipod foregrip is what I'm running. So that's what we're running here. We jump into the gameplay. You'll see I swap out my heavy armor for my light armor. So this is really, pay attention to how I'm building my class here, right? I have 3 points left, so I'm going to go in and just double check my attachments, go through everything, and make sure it's how I want it on the SCAR. Again, this is more of a close quarters map. However, here with the SCAR, I can run that 4x optic along with that top-mounted red dot sight. So again, you'll see how I build this, and then we jump into the gameplay. And really, I wanted to make this video again because I run a lot of PvE lately, and I do see a lot of players which is just with base weapons that come with their specific class. So here I'm an advisor, and whatever the base is for the advisor, if you're a rifleman or etc., I see a lot of players just running with the weapon that comes preset for that class. So I see a lot of base AK-74s or base AKMs with maybe like a laser sight on there, and that's about it. So one thing to keep in mind, again, building your class for not only the map, but also your playstyle. So you'll see the scar here. You'll see examples of just leaning pine corners, right? There's going to be guys laying down in here. I'm pieing that corner, using that lean mechanic here in the gameplay to go ahead and make sure I can clear my corners and move into the objective without getting killed really quick. And again, this is a pretty decent gameplay. I ended up going 30-0, like I said, and it's just a good example of using a lot of tactics. Now, there's one thing that I didn't cover here, so I'm going to back us out really quick. And one thing here is focus fire. So I actually didn't even cover this in the beginner's guide video yesterday, but focus fire here is you can sustain fully automatic fire or long distance shots if you need to. So I'm going to ADS, and on PlayStation 5, it's going to be my R1. And I'm going to hold my breath, and it's going to give you that extra zoom. So you'll see here, see how much ammo I have. If I shoot this full auto while controlling it without focus, not too bad. And now with focus, it just allows you a little bit extra zoom, as well as to control and sustain fully automatic fire a little easier. And again, that's going to be based on your stamina. So jumping back into the video, you may see me use that here a little bit, but again, that's really good in situations where you're engaging a target that could be very far away, maybe a sniper rifle, or you're using could be enemies on the move. Based on your optic, that could be a very useful mechanic, as well as if you need to sustain fully automatic fire at a decent distance while also reducing your recoil a little bit. So all a bunch of things to keep in mind here. Now, again, in the gameplay, this is going to be good examples to pay attention to. Unfortunately, I don't die here, but when I do die in other games, that's where I notice a lot of players maybe not using the weapon customization to its fullest. You can see some players here, even in the game, are just still running. You can see one or two players have an AK-74, and it may or may not be decked out fully. So that's one thing that you definitely want to do, is make sure you build your weapon and your class or your kit setup according to your playstyle and the map. And this will definitely help you in situations to get higher kill games and just have a better understanding of the game. You can see I'm running always with my laser on. Again, that's always just in case. I'm typically in single fire, and that's really if I need to hip fire somebody or point shoot. Use that laser because there's no crosshairs here in Sandstorm, so I can use that laser to know where my bullets are going to go. Now, obviously, there's going to be recoil, which is why you want to keep your weapon in select fire, but you can just see how we're going around corners, going into rooms, things like that. Really helpful tips here to help you guys if you're struggling with PvE or even PvP. This would apply to both. So let me know what you guys think down below. Are you somebody that's finding benefit from these videos? I know the beginner's guide did really, really well. I think a lot of people enjoyed that video. So this is more of the tips and tricks, how to get higher kill games in Sandstorm. And again, it's really player dependent, weapon dependent. If you're struggling with different weapons, I'll do another video as far as beginner weapons to use. Now the Scar, I think, is a really good weapon. However, this may be a more, I wouldn't say advanced weapon, but it's definitely going to have more kick. Typically, you'll see here, I'm obviously going to be running it in semi-automatic fire, so I'll just be single firing just because it is that 7.62 by 51 NATO round. It's going to have that heavy recoil, especially if I try and sustain fully automatic fire. Now, I do have the bipod grip on here, so if I were to go prone or mount it on something, it becomes very, very accurate. But again, you can see good examples of just point shooting here in the gameplay as we breach down into the parking garage underground, and just how we're advancing through the map. Now, like I was saying, there's a lot of weapons that have lower recoil, typically your 5.56 weapons, 5.56 by 45, even the 5.45 by 39mm Russian weapons also have very low recoil. You have things like the Galil SR, the Galil, even some of the 7.62 weapons. I would say the G3 has really good recoil control, and the FAL is not bad as well. You also have the Ace 52, which is 7.62 by 51 NATO, and that has a fast rate of fire, and the recoil really isn't horrible for medium range engagements. In medium, I mean probably 20 to 30 meters. You can get away with a little bit of sustained fully automatic fire, especially using that focus mode. So let me know what you guys think. What kind of stuff do you want to see for Insurgency Sandstorm? This is a game I'm definitely addicted to. Like I said, I had a really good game running the M110 today, and I was running that just with a kitted out pistol. The M110 didn't have too many attachments. I think I was running a bipod and just the optic on there, and that was it. And then I had a pretty decked out pistol, but I was just crushing it. I went 69-1, I believe, with the M110, the pistol. And again, that was on a pretty wide open map, really different play style versus what you're seeing here. So here, again, because I have the SCAR, I can engage medium to, I guess, long to close range based on where we are here on the map. But I was on a different map. I forgot the name of it, but it was the outdoor map, one of the outdoor maps, which had very long field of view. So I made sure to kind of stay away from the objective and just cover my team, and ended up getting a lot of kills. We had a really good team too. We had observers who were calling in Apaches. We had Warhog strikes, things like that. So that's really good teamwork mechanics here in the game as well, which I think we'll highlight here on the channel. But like I said, I'm definitely very, very addicted to this game right now. I'm going to stop talking, leave you guys with the gameplay. Hopefully you enjoy some of these mechanics. You'll see here in the gameplay how I mount the bipod grip for the SCAR, things like that. Just really taking advantage of not only my play style, but a lot of the tips and tricks that we discussed in the beginning of the video. Let me know what you guys think down below. Till next time, Buffer Gaming, out.
It's clear. Careful, explosive out! Cover me! Everyone, hey, let's get started.